Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Culture. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Hannah, and today we're going to be deep diving into some interesting conversations. We're going to be talking about the sequel trilogy. We're going to talk about lots of topics on that, and we're going to also be asking the really big question of what would Star Wars look like if George Lucas never sold? So lots of big questions there.
Yes, and to help us answer some of those big, important questions is we have Stephanie Says here today, and
Yeah.
behind the scenes we have our producer Nikk TK7272. Um, how are you today, Nick?
Doing grand, doing grand.
Awesome.
Good times. And thank you again for checking us out and tuning in. If you want to know any of us more here at Star Wars Culture, you can check us out on social media. My Instagram is at Han the Raeside and Nikk is at 2K, TK7272.
And you can find my Instagram at tbluepulsar66. And to follow for more great pop culture news and content on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the Culture Slate account. It's at Culture Slate on all of them. And if you're loving the show, be sure to support us on Patreon too. We post all sorts of behind the scenes stuff and
Oh,
exclusive
yeah.
content that you can't find anywhere
It is
else.
juicy. It's
Also,
juicy stuff.
yeah, and when you sign up, you get exclusive merch from us. That's a good deal, don't you think?
Good deal. Good deal. I
Um,
like it.
the link is in the description below. And without further ado, let's get Stephanie Says in
Let's
here.
get her in here. I'm so excited. Stephanie, are
Ye-
you with us?
Hi,
Hello. Hello.
Hello. That's so, thank you for being here. How are you going today?
I'm great. And you?
We're doing fantastic. Even better now that you're here. Now,
Court.
let's jump straight into it. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We've got a lot of questions for you, but first of all, you've released a book in the past just over 12 months ago. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. First, sorry for my English. It's been a while since I don't practice, and it's not my first language. So I'm sorry if I don't get it right.
You're a part of the galaxy with us, the Star Wars galaxy. It's all good.
All good over here.
So I'm a writer from Brazil. I'm 27 years old. I'm graduated in cinema and animation, and I write books that are kind of a space opera, and it's very kind of based in Star Wars in a kind of way. And I love Star Wars. I have tattoos from
Oh,
like
yes. Is that a lightsaber tattoo?
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Oh,
Wow.
wow.
What?
Photographer that I got in the when he was doing a play in New York. In New York, I went there and kind of asked him to sign my arm because I had the tattoo already from the
Yeah.
lightsaber. And
What?
okay, I can wash it. So yeah.
Yeah. That's
That
incredible. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your book. So that came out, yeah, just over a year ago. So let's jump straight into it.
congratulations, by the
Yeah,
way.
massive congratulations. Wow. But tell us a little bit about it. What's the premise of this book? What is it about?
I think I can kind of resume. I have here. The name in English is Cause React Adversion. That and it's kind of a mixture of mythological journey in space with the thing chosen one thing and the romance enemies to lovers romance, and has a lot of social critics in it. And it's also very inspired by the Hitchhiker's Guides to the Galaxy,
Yeah.
which is funny and critical and have a lot of jokes. And yeah, I kind of did this. And the premise is that a girl that has a lot of absolute truth, that in a sense of way is very sure about everything. She kind of go to another planet, and there she discovers that she knows nothing. This is
Mm.
basically the plot. And
Yeah. That's incredible. And that's it's very Star Wars-esque sounding, which is fantastic. And it's a little bit about what we want to kind of talk about and ask you about today of I mean, clearly you're an avid Star Wars fan and which is fantastic. Um, and how do you think the Star Wars storylines, the characters, the themes that we see in Star Wars, how do you think that has affected and influenced your writing style?
yes, a lot. The thing is that George Lucas is a lot has a lot of got a lot of inspiration from Joseph Campbell's work, the hero journey and mythological things,
Mm.
and it kind of inspires a lot of cultures and every author and every storyteller, in a sense of like everybody loves this kind of stories, the chosen one, the farm boy that goes to do amazing
Yeah.
and learn a lot of things, it goes to a spiritual journey, and also the political scenario that is pretty much what we see in our society nowadays, and the things that happen in politicians. Like Star Wars really get it very right, and in this sense, influences me a lot. And
Mm.
also the part of the force, this transcended energy that it kind of surrounds the space and everybody's lives. It's kind of the premise of a lot of natural religions like Buddhism and Taoism. So this kind of inspires me a lot,
Mm.
it's also what I think inspired George Lucas. So in a sense of way, it's all the same.
Yeah. It's just similar themes, just shown in a different way and written in a different way. Yeah, super interesting. And you mentioned there the whole idea of the Force and how George Lucas, when he created this whole concept and idea, yeah, he definitely kind of drew upon different religions and the way of thinking and the whole idea of the Jedi Order and the way they meditate, and that whole concept is very much drawn upon different things that we have in our world today. Hey, what do you think, Jordan? Do you think how influenced of the world do you think George Lucas was from writing things like the Force and creating those concepts?
I super very influential. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, even before the newer movies came out, people have been referencing his stuff for years. I mean, you see references in TV shows all the time,
Mm.
with the Force or just different characters and stuff like that. And a lot of people who they create content or filmmakers or
Mm.
anything like that, they always talk about how those things sort of influence them, and that's just not something that's going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. And Stephanie, a question for you. You mentioned a little bit before the hero's journey and the importance of that, and that's very much a major theme with all major stories, whether it's action or love or anything. It's a hero's journey, and we want to relate to that hero's journey. What do you think, in your opinion, makes a fantastic and powerful hero's journey? What are some of the qualities that you want to be writing about with your hero?
I think the heroes is someone that not necessarily always wins, but someone that never gives up when he's failed.
Mm.
So I think this is the most important thing about the hero, and also put societies and people's needs in front of yourselves. Uh,
Mm.
this also makes a true hero in a sense, but
Mm.
also being real. Like nowadays, heroes are are more real. In old movies, they are like something that you can achieve and you can relate because they are so perfect. And humans aren't perfect. We do a lot of mistakes and we get wrong all the time and we fail. And nowadays heroes, I think they are more relatable because of this, and this is important for the stories to be more how can I say in for related to our time that we live in. We are more acceptable with failure and mistakes.
Yeah. The imperfect nature of the human experience. Yeah, super interesting. So, as a writer, we talked about your influence of what Star Wars, how Star Wars has influenced you. What other, things around your world, and especially when you're having to sit down, you're starting a book midway through, or you're just getting thoughts on a page. What is some of the things that inspire you that are around you?
Okay, inspirations. I think that the first thing that the people do when they try to create something, it's kind of try to not necessarily copy, but try to do something like the things they like. And I like Star Wars, so I put a lot of this in my work. But I also like a lot of book called The Unbearable Lightness of Being from Milan Kundera. And the thing is that this book is very poetical and deep, and talks about some random things in life in a very touchy way, and it also brings important and complex ideas like Nietzsche's thought, but in a very simple and accessible way. Like anyone can understand the way these ideas in the way it's shown in the book, but you probably couldn't if you read the original work from Nietzsche because it's very complicated. But it kind of translates these ideas in something that anyone can understand. And I love this, and I always try to do this in my book, like bring knowledge in a very accessible way. And also the hitchhiker's guides from the galaxy, the funny and the jokes and the crazy things, and the way they do critical societies and point absurd things from humans that we kind of don't see a lot, like not in day life, but when we see it written, we realize, yeah, this is so stupid. Why we do this? And I love this. It's some big influence for me besides Star Wars.
That's fantastic.
So are there ways that you find, because The Mandalorian's like the most recent piece of Star Wars content to come out, are there ways that you find the Mandalorian, the writing styles of Mandalorian specifically to be influential in what you do?
First, I love the idea of a cute thing that brings everyone together.
Yes. Good moves for Star Wars.
Baby Yoda really bring the fandom together, because Star Wars fandom was a lot very divided since the last movies, and Baby Yoda was kind of that thing that, okay, nobody can hate this, it's too cute, so we have to love and get united by the love of it. I also love the way they let the story breathe. The characters are allowed to stop for a moment and do nothing, just be themselves. And we don't get to see this a lot in Star Wars because it's always explosions and war and pew pew and lightsabers battles. So I think we get to see the characters being more humans and real, and act like a human a person, and have issues and this kind of thing. The emotional journey we got to see there more, I think.
Absolutely, and I think you had a really good point there of, especially with the films of Star Wars, there is a lot of that fast-paced, action-packed kind of, it just has to keep going and going. Where Mandalorian, I think was such a good shift, is that we had those emotional moments, like you were saying, we have those pauses and the whole idea that our main character, we do not see his face until end of season 1. But even then, you know, Helmut goes back on kind of thing. And everything has to be driven by body language and dialogue. And it's not just his face and we're seeing this human face, but we have to emotionally connect with this character. Yeah, behind this helmet, which is crazy. Like, how do we relate so much to someone we don't even know the face of? Until we see it. Yeah, really good point. Really good point.
Yes.
While watching The Mandalorian, seeing that we're on it, and it's just a fantastic show. What do you have a favorite episode or scene from The Mandalorian that really resonated with you or really kind of impacted you?
I think my favorite episode is. I didn't think about it. I think the ones that we can see Pedro's Pascal faces, I really love them.
Yes.
Like the last one, I like it a lot because we can see how, like, behind that mask he's so vulnerable and he can't hide his love for his songs, Baby Yoda, and we got to see even that he doesn't talk a lot. We got to see for the little parts that he's such a emotional person, and I love that we kind of get it just with one episode. I love this.
Yeah.
I love a lot of the Azuka one. I think was so cool. We kind of give an opening for so much in the universe, the Star Wars universe, and I can't wait to see the things they will do next with this.
Absolutely. Well, I have a very specific question for you. And this is regarding our team was doing a deep dive going back to your book that you've released. We were doing a deep dive into what it was about and reading all about it. And as you said, it's written in Portuguese, is that correct?
Yeah, Portuguese.
Yeah. Wonderful. And we were doing a bit of a translation, and sometimes things can get lost in translation and or mixed around. And we came across a certain description of your book. And I have to ask you about it. I have to bring this question up. So in the synopsis of what your book was about, it's and then this was on the Amazon link, it said, if you like, so it's like recommending your book. It said, if you like protagonists who live traveling through mayonnaise.
Oh my God, yeah.
Is there some way you could possibly help us understand what this might mean? Protagonists traveling through mayonnaise. Is this a saying? Is this a...
Yeah, it's kind of expression that I think it means the sending of space out. I don't know if because you got lost in your thoughts and you start to think something and you got lost and think a lot of things. It's kind of what means traveling.
Yeah. Traveling in so this is a saying you would commonly use.
Yeah.
yeah, traveling in mayonnaise. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much, because we were having a hard time because we're like, okay, mayonnaise is delicious. We use it, but what does it mean to travel through it?
Like, what? I was like trying to figure out what it was. I almost picked up that book and read it all overnight so I could figure it out.
Yeah, I was up all night trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I think that it got really confused. It's got like a perfect example of things that got lost in translation.
Yeah. I want to use that one now. Right. It's been a day of traveling through mayonnaise.
Yes.
Very good. I love it.
So we're gonna switch gears here. Thank you for answering our questions about you as an author and whatnot. I like to think that we're all sequel fans in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you have Kylo Ren's lightsaber tattooed on your arm.
Yeah. I feel like that's saying something. Yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna deep dive into the sequels in general, but I also want to talk about why The Last Jedi is better than people think. I know that is not spicy. A great subject. It is a spicy subject within our lovely Star Wars community. And I mean, I'm gonna open the floor to the two of you. I mean, how do you why do you feel like people may think that The Last Jedi is better than haters or anyone else may think it is?
Stephanie, I'm going to throw this one to you, seeing as you're our guest.
First, is that the thing is that a lot of people doesn't understand that it's a movie about failure and how do you deal with failure. So people read this with like the movie doesn't have anything. No, we have that the thing. That's the thing. It's about failure and how the heroes deal with this. All of them are humans that got wrong, and makes mistakes, and they learn how to deal with this in a certain way. That's what all of them that do, especially Luke. The thing is that people doesn't accept that Luke is a real person that can change and can evolve and can be wrong. The original trilogy, Luke was kind of the heroes that always wins, and people think that just because he learned in the sixth movie a lot of things, and that he can never be wrong in his life. So that's not how life works. You do a mistake and you learn, and you then do another mistake and then you learn again, and that's how life goes. And the thing is that Luke, it's a person. He's not a imaginary hero that never fails. And the thing is, it's how people receive him. Had an image of him that it kind of influenced a lot of the way they feel about the movie. So I think I love it. I think it was amazing. And the Yoda quote where he says, "The greatest teacher failure is," kind of really me. I love it so much. I think I cried every time I saw in the first like the first 3 times that I saw, I cried in this line because it's so touching.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was just gonna say I definitely agree with um the Luke aspect of everything you were talking about. A lot of people had this image of him in their head and how they expected to see him 20 years after him and his sister and Han defeated the Empire and Lando. We're not gonna do that today. We're not gonna act like Lando didn't help. I've been hearing y'all. Lando his credit. Anyway, people had this idea of what he was up to 20 years. I think it was like The Force Awakens was like 20 something years after Return of the Jedi. So they had this idea in their head, and when that idea was shattered by the fact that, Luke Skywalker is not perfect, they kind of had this reaction that was like almost too much in a way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Luke,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, and my thing is, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Luke wouldn't do that to his nephew because he essentially went on impulse and almost took him out." And to that I say, Yoda said something in Empire, and he was like, it was when Luke was getting ready to leave, and the infamous "I'm your father" scene was about to happen. He said, "If you go down this path, it's gonna dictate everything you do in the future, or most things you do in the future," something like that, in his very Yoda way. And that makes sense if you think about what he said in that moment to Luke, and Luke decided to do it anyway. This was bound to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Yoda comes back in The Last Jedi and is like, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you?"
I know, right?
You're always
Yeah.
focused on the things you see or that you think are going to happen, and you don't realize that always in motion the future is. You don't realize that, and you look at these visions and you're like, that's what's going to happen, instead of focusing on the now and making sure he doesn't become Kylo Ren. And I think and it sucks that a lot of people miss that, because that's one of the aspects that I do like about The Last Jedi, and just how the sequels portrayed the original four because of Lando. How they portrayed Luke, Han, and Leia, especially.
Mm, mm. And I think coming back to that whole idea of what our hero is, and
Yeah,
Luke was a hero in the original trilogy, and then that's what arced everyone up about seeing him in the sequels and going, oh, hang on, Luke's the hero. He can't be wrong about something. He can't have miscalculated this or done a mistake. And like what you were saying, Stephanie, he's a human. Like Luke is like a human. He's made these mistakes and he's going up. He's had these highs and these lows, and it does. I do appreciate that about the films, and I know a lot of people had an issue with that. That, oh no, Luke Skywalker is perfect. How could he make a mistake about this? But like what you said, it makes it relatable and real, and it makes his character have a good amount of depth of, oh, he's the hero. He's the
right.
great hero that we want, but he's making mistakes, but he's getting through them, and he goes about them, and he goes on this journey with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, yeah, there's, I understand the dissatisfaction people had with the Luke Skywalker we got, but I think there's also merit to his
For sure.
up and down journey that we see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also I mean, just how they portrayed Leia in all three movies
Mm.
was great. She was someone
Yes.
who was going to, she was going to fight for her rebellion regardless, but she also wanted her son back. At the end of the day, she just wanted her son back.
Mm.
And um Carrie Fisher actually said something in the featurette of Star Wars, The Last Jedi, and she says that at the very end. And she goes, Star Wars is about family, and that's the beautiful thing about it, or something along those lines. I watch the video all the time. It's a 2-minute video that came out 3,
Mm.
4, 5 years ago, and I still watch it.
Mm.
But and she would, we all know she. First of all, Carrie Fisher ain't never wrong, but we all can see why, because um she just wanted her son back. And she was also right in the sense that it's not just about the Skywalker family, it's about family, period, because
Mm.
you have Finn, who doesn't really have a family, finding family in Rain, Poe, um especially Poe, and then you have Jannah in the last movie, who is kind of doing the same thing if they decide to touch on it. And I think that is the beautiful part about the sequels. And for me that family aspect is the best feature. That, and along with new characters, as far as like the best features of the sequel trilogies go. So Stephanie, I'm gonna ask you, what in your opinion, what are the best features that the sequels bring to the Star Wars franchise?
Oh my god, I think I loved it all about the sequels until The Last Jedi. Uh, but I can say just one thing, but I will point some things. But what the thing that I loved first in the seventh movie, it was like they show us that stormtroopers are not like robots; they are actual
Mm.
people. And because we kind of just saw them like minions from the Empire, and in the Force Awakens, when we got to see things to take off his helmet and be an
Mhm.
actual person with emotions, we got to see, oh my god, all the stormtroopers are people, like they'll die all the time, we don't care, but now I care about them. And I love this, and I really wanted to see him do a stormtrooper revolution. He kind of got to free all of them. I really wish to see that in the last movie, because let me see. There is this book, this Star Wars book that's called From a Certain Point of View, and it has some chapters that are written in stormtroopers' points of views, and there is one that is the stormtrooper that locked Leia in the Death Star, and he kind of had a crush on her, I think. and it's so cute to see. Oh my
So
god,
nice.
Yeah.
it's like that's it's a person behind that mask, and he has feelings, and he he doesn't have his story told because no one cares about him, and now we think we got to see uh, this side of the story that nobody ever cared, and I loved it. I also love Kylo Ren's stories, how the kids kind of Anakin backwards. Like we got to see the person that has the family and is in the good side and falls to the bad side because of the circumstances, and
Right.
find his way back to light. And it's very sad that he kind of, when he finds his ways back to life, he dies, and got to see his mom's hugging, and because she always want him back. And yeah, I love these things most. And also
Yeah.
Ray Nobody, I loved it when she was nobody. Like you don't have a fancy nick surname to be someone in this galaxy, and I love that part. But now it doesn't have it anymore. But yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really, really interesting point. But the whole story of a stormtrooper kind of idea of, it was like we just saw them as robots, especially, all through original trilogy. It was just, you would just see a bunch of them, and then, they were just all killed, and you don't even care. You don't even think anything of it.
Yeah.
But this whole, we have stories. We know them now. We met Finn and his whole journey to coming the rebellion or resistance. And then, like what you were mentioning before too as well, Jordan, is that, we met Janna in Rise of Skywalker, and she was like, oh yeah, there's like a whole bunch of us. And I don't know about you guys, but even when she said that, I was just like, wait, there is? Like, you're all just hanging out? All these deserters are like here, just having a good time?
They're just
Like,
vibing.
that's
They're
like,
just
what are you
vibing on the
doing?
Death Star
Yeah.
remain. No big deal.
Right. They're just hanging out all together, which I'm like, wow, that would actually make a great like series of like their adventures of all these like deserted stormtroopers.
I'm just saying, we don't know what the Lando series is about. So Billy D could come back and they
can't
can
wait
all
to
just, I'm just saying.
Right?
Says that it's probably going to be something like old Lando telling stories about his younger days. Donald Glover portraying him, like, so we can get to see both. And
I had that same
That would be amazing.
thought. I had that exact same thought. I was like, if Disney can give me Billy D and Childish Gambino in the same show,
You're set. You're set.
I'm set for life. And like, honestly, I would be set because they have some repenting and answering to do. And let me just go ahead and explain why. My feelings on the sequel trilogy in general are very like complicated. More complicated than people want Star Wars movies to be. um while I like them and I will never bash on Disney for making them like a lot of toxic people do, I can't help but feel a lot of things were missing. And that starts with Finn. Like we said earlier, we would have loved to see a stormtrooper rebellion. Of course we would have. Him and Janna leading a stormtrooper rebellion would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't acknowledge is the diminishment of his arc within the 3 movies. You have him, the first movie was called The Force Awakens, and a lot of people were like, oh, that's Rey discovering that she has the Force. That's also Finn waking up metaphorically and deciding that the First Order is not something he wants to be a part of. And as we saw in 9, that also meant he also had a Force awakening. Like, let's not pretend that they shouldn't have touched on that.
That happened.
Yeah, like, he sensed Rey dying. And I think it was a really missed opportunity. It was really screwed up of them to deprive Boyega of that and Finn fans just in general, because a lot of us wanted more from this character, and we, I mean, we didn't get it, you know?
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? And
Absolutely. Yeah.
it just sucks because, Rey got her completed arc. She became a Skywalker. Her name is Rey Skywalker, and all of you can get over it. Um, Ben came back to the light, and it just felt like
It was unfinished. It felt a little
it
bit
was
unfinished for Finn.
unfinished. And I don't want to say anything to get me in trouble, but the story felt unfinished for certain characters, and all these characters have something in common.
Mm.
They are people of color. And I think that Disney / Lucasfilm did a huge disservice by essentially allowing that to happen. I am a fan of J.J. Abrams' work and Rian Johnson, and I was really disappointed to hear all these behind the scene things of them not agreeing on the story with Kathleen Kennedy or whatever it was. Um, I just, I just expected more from my favorite franchise, and I hope they give it to us, because as a Star Wars fan and as a person of color, we deserve the same representation as Rey and Ben and Anakin and everyone else. And I feel like we're starting to get there, but we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And I hope that in the future, especially with these new shows coming out, this is kind of their way of expanding an already awesome story, but B, kind of not necessarily fixing those mistakes, but expanding on what they wanted to happen, or and things like that.
Absolutely. And we had John Boyega come out like it was 6 months ago or something, and came out and
Happy birthday
and he
to you,
said,
by the way,
oh,
John. I
oh
know
yeah,
you're not
oh
watching.
yeah, it is John Boyega's birthday.
You're probably
It's
not
good that we're
watching,
talking about him.
but it is your birthday, and I want to wish you the happiest of birthdays, you absolute legend.
That's so funny. Yeah. But like we had him come out a couple months ago and say, hey, Disney like totally wrote this character off, and he said, made all these big statements, and we had all this media going, oh buddy, should you be talking about that? It's Star Wars. Yes, he should be talking about it. It is Star Wars. They should know better. They should be doing better. And it's not just, it shouldn't take him, that character of that prestige, to bring these to light, as it should be him, any other actors in the franchise, and also us as fans saying, hey Disney, hey Star Wars, that's not okay. Like, that is so not okay. Yeah, so I'm totally with you there, Jordan, of a disservice. I think that's a fantastic word for it. It was a disservice.
And for me, my problems they don't start and end with Disney Lucasfilm. It's also some of the fans, because I can't begin to tell you how many people I've talked to, and they say things like, well, Finn was a side character, so what does it matter? And it's like, so side characters don't deserve that much? Like, I mean, if you think about it, I considered Maul a side character in the Phantom Menace, even though he was like the big bad that faced off against Obi-Wan.
He said like one line or like two
said
lines.
like one line, but they expanded on him in the Clone Wars and a lot of other side characters from that era, and they are doing the same thing with Rebels and everything else. So why is that their argument? Like, that's not a very good argument to me. You know what I mean? Because personally, even for a side character, wasn't that great of an arc, if I'm being completely honest. What he did in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi were really great, and I love that he did them, and how he went with Rose to Canto Bight, and they realized what the war was really doing to the galaxy. But I just disagree with the whole, well, what do you care, because he's a side character, he wasn't meant for bigger and better things, when he literally held The other problem I have is like you're saying that, but like he literally held the Skywalker saber in his hand and
Yeah.
fought a Skywalker with it. Like,
yeah.
come on, like don't do that. Don't dismiss his character because you thought he was a side character. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Chad Benty in our chat on YouTube had a really good point of what if they expand him to have a like a Disney Plus show? Would we want to see a Finn show?
Yes. I
Yeah.
Stephanie, what do you think?
I would love to see him, but I hope they plan all things with a lot of more care, the way they plan other stories.
Yeah.
I would love it to see simple shows, but the thing is that the actors already said that they wouldn't come back. Also, Isaac said that he would only come back to Star Wars if he needed to buy a house.
Oh yes, I love that.
Right. Quick, somebody convince him that he needs a house. Like, yeah.
I'd love to see Gary Tran do something like to do right with Rose, because the way she was sidelined, and actually it's not even sidelined, it's completely cut out from the movie.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the things that I hated most in the last movies. The way she has like 1 minute in total movie in the end, when the other has like 40 minutes, and yeah, it's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Chad also said, this was to my point earlier, Finn was one of the main characters of the entire sequel trilogy. Yes, because he was.
Yeah.
Once again, you have a character who picked up the Skywalker saber and said, let's go, to the son of Han and Leia. He said, you're not about to just sit here and treat Rey any kind of way, and just started going ham. And, you know, another argument that I found was that, oh, it's just a lightsaber. I don't see it as that big of a deal. Those same people, not all of them, because some of them are my friends and we do have civil discussions. So I'm not trying to call them out or anything. And they're not included in what I'm about to say. But the other part of the people who say that the lightsaber isn't that big a deal are the same people who complain every time you call it Rey's lightsaber. So is it not that big a deal, or do you want me to like make it a big deal and call it whose lightsaber it really is? Like, you know, and it's just things like that that get on my nerves when arguing with people about Finn.
Yeah.
I just think that he just deserved better, and so did Poe, and so did Rose, because you know, they made Poe a spice runner, and to, you know, Oscar Isaac is a Hispanic man, and Poe is the same. And I can't really speak on that because I'm not Hispanic, but a lot of them did find offense to that. And I think that's something worth mentioning, and that Disney needs to be careful of going forward in the future, because you can't just do stuff like that. My other point to Disney, last week we made jokes about me riding in the Disney parking lot. I'm still taking signups if you want to ride in the parking lot with me. Only the parking lot. Not going anywhere else but the parking lot.
Parking lot safest. Yep.
Yeah. The entrance, you're doing too much. Come back to the parking lot. But I lost my train of thought. Disney needs to be more mindful of what they do, not just only with Finn, and John Boyega, but Poe and Oscar Isaac and Rose as Kelly Marie Tran, because her role was completely wiped out to a few lines as well. And I really do think, in my most humble and respectful opinion, I think that JJ and Disney and Lucasfilm were giving into bullies at that point who hated Rose just so much that they felt like they had to bully Kelly Marie Tran, to where they cut out all of her stuff and she only got 2 minutes of screen time. That's not cool, and it's not fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we had a bit of a discussion about it on last week's episode as well. Check it out if you haven't.
Please.
About her character and about Rose's character and her premise. The strength of her character. She had just lost her sister. At the start of Last Jedi, and then she goes on this whole journey, and she becomes this. She was working at the bottom level of the resistance. She was working at the bottom of a ship. She was just, doing her thing, trying to help the resistance the best way she can. And that's all her worry was. She just wanted to help, even though her world was falling apart. She lost and went through this emotional grief.
Yeah.
She was like, I still want to help. There is so much to say about that character, and there's so much to take out of that character.
Yeah.
And I think you're right there, Jordan. I think it was like a negative fan service because they were like, ooh, Disney was like, ooh, we're getting haters, better tone this character down. Where it's like,
and I feel like as a giant corporation, they should just get over it. Because with what we said about Rose, a lot of people felt that way about Leia and Padme and Jen and every other brunette female protagonist in the galaxy. And when can't girls of color and boys of color feel the same way about people who look just like them? And then you turn around, and after you did all this stuff in The Last Jedi, and turn around and make one of them a spice runner, mention maybe kinda that one of them is force sensitive, and the other one is like, well, if we find these Star Destroyers, I guess we'll destroy them. What does that look like to people who look like me and Asian individuals and Hispanic individuals when you do that mess? Do you know what I mean? I don't mean to get all like preachy and like worked up, but these are the things I think about every day consuming these movies and this just this media. And I feel like, I feel we need to do better, and we need to
absolutely
make sure that the people entertaining us do better. That's why because me, I'm an OC creator. For those of you who are on the internet, original characters and whatnot, when I create all these characters and expand them in the Star Wars universe, they're people of color, LGBT, everything, because I want/need these people represented in the media that they've been consuming for years. Like, I was so excited when John Boyega was announced. I didn't even know who he was at the time, but I was so happy that he was going to be one of the leads in this new trilogy when, you found out back in 2014, because the movie came out in 15.
Yeah.
Because what was it going to look like if Samuel L. Jackson and Billy D. Williams were the only two Black people running around the galaxy, and Captain Panaka from...
Panaka. That's still my favorite Star Wars line. The way he goes into the comlink. Panaka. I quote that all the time. Sorry. Yes, continue.
No, you're good. Lucasfilm just has to do better. And I think we're getting there. A picture of Jana and Finn just came on the screen. I love them both so much. I think we're getting there. Maybe we'll see. But we just have a long ways to go.
And it comes back to that whole thing of we can't just go, oh, hopefully they pick up on it. Like, hopefully they'll fix that.
Yeah,
it takes us getting arced up about it, and fans being vocal about, hey, this wasn't okay. This wasn't okay. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of narrative choices. It feels like a message to the haters and the bullies that they are the most important part from the fandom, and they have rights, and it kind of sucks. Like, I hated this. The way that they win. They are horrible, and they win with these things like Rosa Rays and Finn Rays, and it feels like they are saying that these people are the most important audience, and they're doing movies to please them and not minorities and people and anyway, you get it, the way the things you're talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is sad. I hated this.
Yeah.
Eh,
So we were talking about the the future of Star Wars and what we hope for. Disney had their Investors Day and they had all these, they were like, here's 20 more shows coming out in the next 5 years. Which ones stand out to you and what do you hope to see from them?
Lando, I already said that.
mm,
Both Landos, I really hope to see this. Obi-Wan, obviously, because
oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Hayden Christensen returning. Oh my god, I can't believe this. It's like going back to my teenage years. When the
Yeah.
I
Teenage,
can,
I was definitely still in elementary school. If I don't want to date myself by how young I am, but I was definitely in the 4th grade when Revenge of the Sith came out. While half my friends in the Star Wars community were teenagers or maybe in their 20s.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan series. What else? What else are you looking to see?
there's this one that is based in a book. It's very I think it's Blood and Bones. I'm not sure the name. I think it's not actually Star Wars universe, but it's Lucasfilms that will produce that.
Okay.
And the investors, it will be very nice, I think.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember the things. There's the ones. I think it's a movie with from the director of Wonder Woman. I think.
Patty Jenkins, my
Yeah.
queen.
Mm.
Listen.
And Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I can never say his name.
Yeah. It
I
took
leave
me
that-
like hour
I
of
say the man
practicing.
who directed the 3rd Thor movie and hope people know what I'm talking about because I can never say his name. Yeah,
And he will do a Star Wars movie, and he said that he can't wait to ruin Star Wars. I love this. I love him.
I love the joke because for me, okay, I don't know if we got some MCU fans in the audience, but everybody just loves Ragnarok. I guess not my favorite. So I was just kind of, when I heard he was directing a movie, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't really like his Thor movie all that much, but cool. And then he said that, and I was like, oh, your movie's gonna be good.
Yeah. He gets it. He gets it.
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit from him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
I'm excited for it all. So hyped for Bad Batch because y'all know me in the Clone Wars. We go way back. That's my favorite piece of Star Wars content ever. So
Gotta love some Clone Wars.
basically
Gotta
getting
love
a
it.
Clone Wars sequel show is amazing. I actually, well, because we pitch ideas for every week. I'm not gonna say too much, but might not be playing a little something for May the 4th when Bad Batch comes out. But I said I have an idea for Bad Batch, but instead of Bad Batch, I said the Clone Wars. And I was like, come on.
It's just a sequel. It's so interchangeable. Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Now
course I'm ready for Ahsoka.
this is a really good segue actually, because speaking of new content and new Star Wars content, I want us to try and answer the question. And this is a big question. This might take a minute or two. What if George Lucas never sold to Disney?
Can I be
What would that look like? Yeah, Jordan.
Can I be completely honest with you? I might be the only one. I don't know. But for me, don't think it would look that much different. I really like, you know what I mean? I don't think it would be any better. I don't think it would be any worse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. Stephanie, what do you think about this? Do you think it would look much different, the Star Wars world today?
I don't know. I think we probably would see more Skywalkers. I don't know. I'm trying to maybe Leia would have become a Jedi, or we
Yeah.
see Luke's schools, or the time jump wouldn't be so big, like 30 years. We
Mm.
maybe the story, the 7 episode will be like right next after episode 6, probably. I don't know. I have never thought about this question.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but that's an interesting thought actually to have. If yeah, there was a sequel trilogy, it wouldn't be that far from the original trilogy. Just like a to see Luke and Leia just and all those characters like
Yeah.
only like maybe like 5 or 7 years older than what they were in the original trilogy. That would have been interesting. That's it. Yeah, I like that thought. That's really I like that.
they do a show about it, like it's
Yeah.
they can of books. I don't know. They can do it.
Mm.
They
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
call Carrie Fisher's daughter to be Leia, Billy Lord,
Billy, yeah.
I love her.
Sebastian Stan to be Luke, and
Yeah.
Han Solo.
Whoever, okay, so I know everybody and I don't mean to cut y'all off, I'm so sorry, but whoever was saying, like, everyone was like, oh, Sebastian Stan is Luke Skywalker. Why not just get, the Mark Hamill, the guy who did his movements from The Mandalorian? They were a perfect pair. Why not just get them? Why not just have them come back?
Mm.
Yeah, they can do this if they want to, or just CGI everything. Like they can do this.
Yeah.
I feel like they have the
George
money.
Lucas was on-
Star Wars has money.
Lucas was on his way to green screening everything anyway. So I mean,
Yeah.
That's true. That is so true. Yeah.
yes.
I think, in my opinion, I think we would have gotten the sequel trilogy, but I feel like it would have come out in like 2025. I feel like we wouldn't have seen it all by now. I feel like by the time George Lucas sold it, it was quite apparent how burnt out from the franchise he was, and he was still trying to kind of bounce back from the backlash. And there was a lot of negativity when the prequels came out.
Yeah.
I think he was still recovering from that, so I think we wouldn't have seen a sequel trilogy. Yeah, for like we wouldn't even have heard about it yet. It would be coming like in another 5 years' time. But so. I mean, again, a lot of people have a lot of opinions of, he did sell to Disney and what the Disney Star Wars world is like. And I feel like we've hit a lot of those negative things that have come out of Disney taking over. But what do you think is the best thing that has come out or that has happened since Disney's takeover and buying Star Wars? What is the best thing? Stephanie, I'll throw this one to you first. What do you think is the best content or character or storyline that has come out of Disney Star Wars?
Oh my God, this is difficult. I don't know. I think I would do Mandalorian because Baby Yoda,
Yeah.
like my mom's love it. She really thinks it's an actual person. Like he treats it like a baby and
Yeah.
loves it. And she doesn't care a lot about Star Wars, but she loves the Mandalorian. Like,
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
so I think Baby Yoda, because it kind of it was the person of the year in the Time magazine. I think he was a very nice.
As he should.
Yeah, and I mean, you said it before. I think we just discussed how divisive and we all have different opinions of the sequel trilogy, of the characters and all the stories behind it. But Baby Yoda, you said it before, Stephanie, that it brought a lot of fans together. The story and the show of Mandalorian did, but literally just Baby Yoda, everyone just went mad for. Everyone's just like, how can anyone hate this sweet child? And it was definitely what Star Wars needed. Yeah, I think you're right in that way. Oh, it is the best thing.
That okay, I know they create this just to sell toys, but I cannot not smile when I look at him, like whatever. It's so cute. It melts my heart. So
Yeah.
kind
His
of
little noises too. Oh, his little baby sounds.
Yeah.
So good. So good. What do you
Um,
think about this one, Jordan? What do you think is the most positive thing, the best thing that came out of Disney Star Wars?
the end of Clone Wars season 7. um, so many people were ranting and raving about it and just having a good time talking about it. We're
Mm.
still talking about it a year later. Like we do with most Star Wars, we're going to be talking about a lot of Star Wars and revisiting a lot of things we've already talked about years ago, several years from now. But the Clone Wars was the one I was there for, so that
Mm.
you know that I was like there when it first happened. Because a lot of the times I'm like, oh, I had to like go back and rewatch them on a DVD, but I was here, living and breathing, and able to remember things
Mm.
when that came out. So I'm definitely gonna say the end of season 7 specifically, even though Clone Wars as a whole is must be protected at all costs.
It's
Not to be
yeah,
dramatic or
yeah.
anything.
I was gonna say, wow. No, but I totally agree. It's yeah, season 7 was just
Yes.
whew, yeah, I'm speechless for that one, but absolutely. But there's just one moment in the sequel trilogy that I just can't stop thinking about.
Is it
And
the throne room fight? Please say it's a throne room fight.
well, that was actually fantastic. I thoroughly that is a fantastic scene. That whole yeah, I actually I should change it to be that. No, but I
I
was gonna
want to
say
recreate that
this.
with like different characters though.
Oh,
Like
edgy.
just like a callback to that scene, but like obviously it's different people or something like that. But please continue.
Yeah. So I had the hug between Ray and Leia. I
Yes.
just every time I watch that, I wish I was Ray. Like imagine just hugging
You
Carrie
are
Fisher.
Ray. What do you mean?
Thank you.
You lived that hug. What are you talking about?
But imagine just hugging Carrie Fisher and
Right.
hugging Princess Leia. Oh, every time I watch it, I like tear up a little bit because I'm like, that is just such a magical moment.
Now, are you talking about the episode 7 hug or the hug right before they go uh find Palpatine at the end of not in 9?
Isn't it?
Because they hug before she gets on the
They
Falcon and they
do.
go and find Palpatine.
They do. That's right. The Force Awakens one. The Force
Okay.
Awakens? Yeah. When they land back at the end of the movie and then they get off.
Honestly,
Yeah.
oh, I was just gonna say, honestly, sequel trilogy hugs reign superior. They really do.
What?
Because
What?
the hug between her, Finn, and Poe is like my favorite other than the throne room scene. That was like the best scene of all 3 movies was that them coming together and tearing up and hugging each other and
Mm,
being a family. And then Finn and Poe
absolutely.
get married at the end. It happened.
Actually, going off from this, Stephanie, is there a scene in the sequel trilogy that semi to what we talked about before, but is there a scene that makes you really kind of get goosebumps and you feel, oh wow, that was so overwhelmingly beautiful? Is there a certain scene that in those movies for you?
I think the Yoda and Luke's conversation in The Last Jedi with the tree burning that and the quote, the greatest teacher's failure is. I think
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, that was
My favorite conversations from all movies.
yeah, wow. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I love this. I think I will actually watch it again when I finish here.
So good. I will join you with doing that too. Yeah, it was, and like the quote, you know it better than me. The quote that Yoda says, "Yeah, failure is the best teacher." No, Luke says that. Yeah, Luke says that.
Yoda said,
Yeah. There you go.
Failure is the greatest teacher.
Yeah,
Or
that's
with the grow
just
beyond. He also says that too.
actually that's a tattoo idea. I would get that tattooed.
Right?
Can you just show us again just before we wrap up? Can you show us
Just
our
one more time.
tattoos again? They were just magical. They're beautiful.
I have the Reyes or Anakin Saber.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing. And then
Kylo
Kylo's.
and
Oh,
his autograph. The thing is that both of them kind of, one is buried in the sand in Tatooine, and this is in the ocean. And
that's true. You don't even know where they are.
don't have a point anymore. There is not. But when the moment that I did this, it means a lot to me. So like I love the stories of Ray Nobody, and you can change the world even if you aren't came from a famous family and stuff. And the thing, Kylo is like you can always came back to light and stuff. Anyway, both things kind of got and miss. Oh, sorry, I'm getting both of things doesn't make sense anymore because the Palpatine and Kylo died. So yeah, but in the moment it felt real.
But the meaning is there, absolutely. I love what you said about but both those lightsabers in their symbolicness of what they hold and that whole story. That's wonderful. Just before we wrap up, do you want to plug your book again? So what's it called again? Show us the cover again. It's a fantastically beautiful front cover.
I hope one day translated to English. So
yes.
I can more people can read, because here in Portuguese only Portuguese speakers can read. So
well, it's okay. We might have some Portuguese listeners. We're hanging out for some fantastic traveling through mayonnaise fun. Oh, so good.
I love this translation. It's so funny.
Yeah. And with that being said, thank you all for joining us on this very special episode of Star Wars Culture. And again, a big thank you to Stephanie for joining us today.
Thank you for
you already told us where can we find you on social media actually?
Oh yes, where can we find you?
It's Instagram is Stephanne Says, the way it's written here. Yeah, it's the thing that I use most. I think it's Instagram. So it's the one that I just said. I use Twitter too, but there I don't use a lot of Instagram. So, yeah.
Well, amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Be sure to hit our subscribe button. My things are falling off my desk. And hit the notification bell. If you're watching us on YouTube, we will be back here Wednesday the 24th, same time of 4 p.m. PST and 7 p.m. EST.
Fantastic. And we'll also be here Thursday, Australian time. That's at 10 a.m. on Thursday the 25th. And be sure to follow Culture Slate on all the social medias, the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, that's the fourth one, and all at Culture Slate. And don't forget to check out that Patreon down below if you want to find out more behind the scenes content, little snippets of videos of bloopers that things go wrong, all that kind of fun stuff. You'll get to find out exclusively in our Patreon link down below. That's it for this week. Thank you so much again, Stephanie, for joining us. It was so fun to have these deep dives with you, and we will see you all next week. May the Force be with you.
Always.